Have you ever wondered which one is more sensitive, the Gold Monster 1000 or the Equinox800? Today we're going to be putting the two head to head on a bunch of different pieces of gold at different depths and see which one does better. Let's get into it. Before I show you what sort of depths we're going to be comparing it at, the targets we've got, and get into the actual testing itself, I'm just going to go over the two machines a bit and the settings I've got them on for this test. So the Gold Monster. In New Zealand, this machine will cost you just over $1,000, obviously less or more in different currencies. It's a primarily gold detector. You can use it in parks, etc., but it has no discrimination other than ferrous/non-ferrous. It's a really solid machine and so easy to use and very sensitive on the small gold, getting out there and getting the gold. Settings I've got it on, so I have it on manual 10, which is the highest manual sensitivity you can run it on. These two above it are auto. So manual 10, volume max, detecting everything. That's literally the only settings you can change. But yeah, pretty much max sensitivity on the Gold Monster all set up. So now we have the Equinox. Also, I forgot to mention, both machines have their small 6-inch coils on. The Gold Monster comes with a 6-inch coil. The Equinox, you need to spend an extra couple $100 to get the 6-inch on the Equinox. However, that is what you're going to be using on the Equinox if you want maximum sensitivity on the gold. So, the Equinox's settings. The Equinox, it costs around about $1,400 here in NZ, so an extra about 30% on top of the Gold Monster again. In terms of cost, plus there's a coil, so that's even more, so it costs a wee bit more than the machine. However, it does have a heap more better functions if you're going to be using it for park and beach hunting. Blows the monster away when it comes to park and beach hunting, not in sensitivity, but in terms of discrimination, knowing your target, etc, etc. But here we've got it on its gold sensitivity to determine which one is actually more sensitive on the gold. So, it's in prospecting mode 1, 20 kilohertz, max sensitivity, all iron on, so it would be detecting everything, just like the Gold Monster. We have settings. Noise cancelling, I'll just redo that just to make sure it's appropriate for the area. Noise cancelling doesn't really matter so much, though, in terms of actual sensitivity. Ground balance, volume, threshold, we have the threshold off. Target tone, 1. Prospecting mode, I've just got it on 1 target tone. Ignore that. And then we're going to do the recovery speed. I normally run it on 4 when I'm prospecting, but I'm going to decrease that to a 3 just to get that little bit extra sensitivity. You can go all the way down to a 1, and that's a teeny bit more sensitivity. However, you have to swing it so slow, it can miss a lot of targets. So we're just going to go with a 3 on there. So they're both essentially just on max sensitivity. That's what I'm trying to get at. Max sensitivity, nice balanced settings. But I'll show you the gold we're going to test. So before I get into the testing, I just want to say I do a heap of tests and I'm pretty happy with the results. However, there is quite a bit of ground noise and it's probably not the most accurate test possible. It does give a good baseline though. But if you don't want to watch through all the testing, feel free to skip forward to the 30-minute mark in this video to get the end conclusions and the final results if you don't want to watch through the tests. But if you want to see a bit more, feel free to watch through the whole video. So here we have the nuggets we're going to be testing. So we have a 6.2 gram nugget, found with the Gold Monster, a 1 gram nugget, found with the Gold Monster, a 3/4 gram nugget, this one was found with the Equinox. However, this 3/4 gram nugget has such a big surface area, I feel like it might even ring up deeper than the 1 gram nugget. We then have a 1/3 gram nugget, a 1/6 gram nugget, a 0.07 gram nugget, a 0.03 gram nugget, and then a piece that doesn't weigh up, but the scales register something's going on the scales, like the lock screen on the scale goes off. So, I think that's like a 0.01, 0.005 of a gram piece, maybe? So about a $1 piece of gold there. And then, even smaller again, it'll be surprising when they pick this up, we have this little flake here. This was actually the first flake we ever found. We then also have about 2 ounces of flakes, all in 1 jar we'll test. And then a gram of smaller nuggets, all in 1 jar, to see how it picks up those. But anyway, that is the gold we will be testing. Right, we'll get into it. And finally, before we actually get into the tests, we've got some depths. So we're going to have a surface test, so essentially 0 depth, as close to the detector as it can get. 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, around about 5 inches, and then as deep as I could really dig in this yard using my little trowel, which is around about 8 to 9 inches there. So 8 to 9 inches, 5 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, 1 inch, 1/2 inch, essentially nothing. And we have our gold, I just showed you there, and we're going to get into testing. So first up, we have the smallest of them all, the flake. We'll scan it over. So they're at a surface depth. So at a surface depth, the gold monster is picking up that little flake. It definitely won't that deep though, so I'm not even gonna, like I tried before. It doesn't pick it up at 1/2 inch, but right on it. So if you're scanning directly over it, the gold monster can pick up that little flake, but definitely not at 1/2 inch. Now we'll try the Equinox. So the Equinox, the small flake. It's kind of on and off, but if you can hear that, the flake, it's obviously will be the flake bouncing around, that's why it's not inconsistent. But that's just as good as the gold monster there. So the Equinox can also pick up that small flake. Definitely not at 1/2 inch. We'll continue. So we now have right in there, we have our 0.01 gram piece. Let's see if the gold monster can pick it up on the surface. Pick it up good. Nice and loud on the surface. We'll now move that bit down to 1/2 inch. Really get it in there, make sure it's at the 1/2 inch. These aren't exact measurements, but they're roughly according to my digging tool here. Still struggles a wee bit, but definitely gets it at that 1/2 inch mark. We'll now move it down to 1 inch. Once again, that's definitely clear target there. It's pretty good getting 0.01 at that deep. We'll now move it down to 2 inches. Even at 2 inches, it still gets that bit. Move it down to 3. Inches, still get 0.01. That's absolutely mental. I didn't even know the monster was that sensitive. Far out. 0.01 down to 5 inches. It actually sort of sounds like it's picking it up, but I'm pretty sure that's just the ground. Like, there's no way it gets that at 5. Like, that's the ground there. You can judge whether it's picking that up or not yourself, but it definitely won't get it at the deepest possible, there's no way. But you can judge whether that's the target or not. But anyway, we will try the Nox. It was quite funny actually, I was just randomly digging this plug in my lawn, flipped out of the plug, flipped out a bit of iron there, wasn't detecting it, just dug this plug for the test and a bit of iron flipped out of it. It was quite cool. But anyway, we'll try the knocks on this piece. Right, with the Equinox turned on, or iron mode, we'll see if it picks that piece up right on the surface. Really bouncing, but picks it up solid on the surface. Move to 1/2 inch. Still picking it up relatively solid. And you can definitely tell it's a target because on this soil here, the Nox isn't really designed to cope with it, but the Equinox definitely is. So it does. That is another thing to take in consideration. Like, it's still bouncing a wee bit because we've got it on such high sensitivity, but it's quite obvious when a target's out. Thinks there's a target there, even at 1 inch. Move to 2 inches. Can the Nox beat the monster? That is the question. Still picking it up at 2 depth. Now move to, well, not 2 depth, 2 inches. We'll now move to 3 inches. Still getting it at 3 inches. Now, if it can definitely pick it out at this 5 inch mark, it's what beat the monster in this round. But if it's ultra faint / can't pick it up, it's a tie. Can't believe it. The Nox has beat the gold monster. So the gold monster, that might be just because this ground was setting it off, because I did think there was a bit of a faint target. Like I said, you guys decide. But the Nox, there is no doubt about it, a solid target. At 5 inches deep. The Equinox is solid, picking up a 0.01 gram nugget at 5 inches. The gold monster, yeah, the gold monster did pick it up too. It was just hard to tell because it was going a bit crazy on the ground. Now, just for test's sake, I reckon the Nox might win that round though. We'll chuck it in. Okay, I know what that is. Target in the ground. So I'll take that out real quick, and then I'll get back to you and test that. It definitely wasn't picking up that target there though, as you can see it's not picking up there. So that was actually a bit of a flake there. But I'll dig out that target. Considering both machines got the 0.01 gram as deep as just got it on 5 inches, I've done some changes. So I managed to get that target out. For those who are curious, that was just an old rusty bottle lid, but I got rid of the 1/2 inch in surface. We don't need to do that anymore. It's obvious they're going to get everything bigger from the size on the surface and at 1/2 inch. So we have 1 inch, got rid of 2 inch, so we have 1 inch, 3 inch, 5 inch, around about 8 to 9 inches, and then I brought out the big shovel and a lot deeper. I'm not even sure how deep that is, but it's like a good, probably 11, 12 inches there, I'd say. We're about 11 inches. So that is our depths there. But anyway, we've got the next bit, the 0.03 gram bit at 1 inch. So the gold monster picks up the 0.03, easy at 1 inch. Now we'll move to 3 inches. Still picking it up at 3 inches. Now move to 5 inches. Really faint. Once again, not too different from the surrounding targets, but it got it at 5 inches, 0.03. 8 inches. Nothing different to the surrounding ground, crackling a bit. So the Gold Monster got it faintly at 5, but not at 8. We'll now try the Equinox. So I'm powering the Equinox up now. I thought to save time, I'm just not going to try the obvious ones. If the Gold Monster picks up the obvious ones real loud, the Equinox is obviously going to pick them up real loud too. So we'll go with our 5 inches, 0.03. Equinox picks it up really nicely, even better than the Gold Monster, I reckon. I think that's just because the Equinox is a lot smoother, cleaner on the soil than the Monster. It might be a bit different than the rivers, but I would definitely dig that. So we'll now move that to an 8 inch on the Equinox. It's not quite at the bottom. Once again, the Gold Monster may have been picking it up, but I couldn't tell from the crackly ground. The Equinox does, however, if you get the right angle, seem to be faintly picking that up. So 8 inches. Really faint angle, only one little pressure point, the Nox faintly picks it up. Or, no, maybe not. I don't know, it sounds the same as the rest of the ground. I'm not really sure I would dig that. So the Nox might maybe pick it up, I can't really tell. But it's so faint, I wouldn't dig that in the field. Same with the Monster, like the Monster may be picking it up, but I wouldn't have dug that in the field. But, so we'll call that one once again, Nox maybe wins / draw. Hopefully the next few get a bit more obvious. We'll move up to the 0.07 gram. So we know it's going to pick up at 1 inch, so we might as well get rid of 1 inch for good from now on, so we'll start at 2 inches. Got a Monster picks it up good at 2 inches. Moving down to 3 inches. Sorry, that's not 3 inches, that was... Sorry, I got... The first target was 3 inches. Now this is 5 inches. Really faint. However, I'd probably dig that. So yeah, got it nice and solid at 3 inches and really faint at 5. Oh, need to try 8, just in case it gets it at 8. But to be honest, judging by the other ones, I don't think so. Might be. Might be a really faint something there, but once again, not really different to that other ground. So, Nox. Nox gets it really solid at 3 inches. Now moving to the 5 inches. The Monster struggled here, but did just pick it up. Nox still getting it nice at 5 inches as well. Once again, that's, as I said, it's faulting a bit, just like the monster on the ground. So it is consistent. However, I'm really not sure if I'd dig that at 8 inches. You can make your own guess on that, whether you dig the 0.07 at 8 inches or not. However, considering the rest of the ground, I wouldn't. We now have, you can see it from here actually, but we have the 1/3 of a gram piece at 5 inches. Gold Monster definitely picking it up at 5. It's a solid signal, stands out, I would dig that. Now 8. Maybe picking up something, but I definitely wouldn't dig that in the field. So I'll move back to the 5, and we'll try with the Knox. Knox picking up that 1/3 of a gram piece, really solid. Now we're 8 inches. Once again, it is noisy ground, but so see, it's coming up with pretty much nothing there. Pretty much nothing, and then I think the Knox won't detect that. We'll chuck it out and we'll see if the Knox still. I think that's just falsing. So it's arguable whether the Knox got that at 8, but once again, unsure on the target. Maybe the Knox wins. We'll skip ahead a bit and we'll see how it goes. We had a bit of a problem. The 3/4 gram nugget didn't fit in the jar, so I'm just going to have to chuck it in there. I hope it doesn't get too muddy. But, power on the monster. Well, the monster's already on. But I've got it at 8 inches. We know it'll pick up at 5, and we'll see if the monster gets it. Nothing. I'm going to try the Knox. So, now that might be faulting again, but it's really consistent. And what makes me think it's not faulting is the Equinox has a thing called Pinpoint Mode. Gold Monster doesn't have this, doesn't really help too much, but when we turn it on, I'll get it off 24. Hear that? Keeping it above the hole still, the swing depth, but the Knox seems to think there's something there really faint. It's only when you're right on it. But I thought the monster was more sensitive on gold. Maybe the micro bits like that little flake at the surface, but everything bigger. I'm actually leaning towards the Knox so far. We'll size up the gold and we'll check again. 1 gram nugget, 8 inches. Can the Gold Monster pick it up? Let's find out. If it was quiet ground and that was popping out, you might dig it, but I think that was just the ground. So no target on the gold monster. Or very faint, if it is one. Now time for the Equinox. Seems to be picking up something really faint, but maybe faulting. We'll try with the pinpoint mode. No, I think that's just faulting on the ground. Because remember, we are running these machines on the highest sensitivity possible, in modes that are designed for gold, not the soil, backyard soil we're dealing with here. So, but looks like the Nox is not picking that up at all. I've got it on pinpoint mode just to check, but that sound must just be some faulting. So the 1 grammer, not applicable to either detectors at 8 inches. Now we'll try the Mega Nugget. There's that big chunky gold nugget sitting there at 8 inches. I remember we detected this one with the gold monster, and when we got it in the field, it was probably about that depth, maybe. Yeah, about that depth, so it should pick it up. Yeah, picking it up. It's not the loudest signal ever, and it's kind of on and off. Might be because of the mineralised ground, but it is picking that up. Now, we can try the really deep hole, but I don't think it's that faint. Maybe it's the mineralised ground here, but still a fair test either way. Equinox definitely picking that up as well. And the pinpoint mode suggests that it thinks it's there too. So there is a 6.2 gram nugget. They're really, really very similar. Getting very, very similar results. Now we'll try the nugget horde. Maybe a really faint signal, but sounds just like the ground to me. Now try the Nox. Sounds like a signal to me. However, doesn't seem to be. Oh, nah. They're really, really faint targets at this 8 inch. However, the pinpoint mode picked it up, therefore it's definitely not faulting. And it's getting really faint, so the Nox gets that. The gold monster, once again, the gold monster, I really don't think did. We will have to do more tests, but so far I'm actually leaning towards the Equinox. Right, 2 ounces. Pluck that in the bottom of the hole. Can the monster win on the 2 ounces? Absolutely squealing full gold target. No way you wouldn't dig that in any world. At 8 inches. Now, as deep as I could really dig, probably about 12 inches. Even when I put the coil in the start of the hole, it's really faint, and when I take it out it kind of disappears. So I think that's a no-go as deep as we can get on the 2 ounces. Now try the Equinox. Really solid target right there, so you definitely dig that. Got the gold, the 2 ounces, and the deeper target. Nah, not really getting it either. Hey, well that's all I gold done in the field. Take what you want from it. It's all entirely... I'm not giving you a best one on which is better. This is just going to be my opinion and my conclusion. But, judging from that gold and how that gold did there, I thought the gold monster was more sensitive. However, on everything other than that little flake there, I think the Equinox did better. Equinox picked up everything the gold monster picked up, except it was louder and more solid at almost all of those depths. Well, they were about the same, but then once you got to those really fainter ones, it came out way more solid on the Equinox than it did the gold monster. And there were a few I wouldn't have dug with the gold monster, but I would have dug with the Equinox. It was a bit difficult because garden soil, not really what they're used to. However, from what I can judge, I think the Equinox might have just won that. However, they are really, really similar detectors in terms of overall gold depth and sensitivity. You cannot go wrong with either of them. They are both really solid machines that have no worries at all in finding gold. Gold monster was what we started off with, and it has been what we've found most of the gold with. And when we've been going up with just one machine, I was like, we'll grab the gold monster, and I sometimes leave the Equinox behind. However, that might change after this test. If you're looking to do field, park, beach hunting as well for relics, 100% get the Equinox. The gold monster can do that, but it does a horrible job compared to the Equinox, at least in terms of discriminating. But when you're on the gold, once again, the Equinox gets really similar results to the gold monster. It's such a small difference. So, and the versatility, the fact you can change so many settings. So, if you're looking at getting any of these detectors, what I'd recommend: Equinox if you're going for park or beach, and gold, full stop. But if you're just going for gold, it's a very close call. If you're really new to detecting and just want a nice, easy detector that's a wee bit cheaper too, that you can just get onto it and start getting the gold, I would totally go for the gold monster. However, if you're a bit more experienced, alright, we're dealing with a detector that's a little bit more complex and looking for a detector that has the gold, the Equinox does just as good of a job on the gold as the gold monster, I reckon, if not better. The only piece I would say the gold monster might have done better on is that first little flake. Everything else, the Equinox appeared to have done a little equal, so a tad better. But anyway, I'll do an ear test in home inside. We'll do an ear test just out here. We'll do one final check, and then we'll see. Right, so we have both on. They're side by side. I've got a line sorted out. They're pretty much exactly in line. So I'm just going to wave the gold nuggets. I'm going to see which one picks it up the longest. What I'll do is I'll put my foot down and then I'll wave it in line with my foot. So that depth there, just across there, I'm not sure how deep that is, both are detecting it up. We'll take half a step back. Gold monster not getting it. Equinox. Not really getting it either. Quarter step back in. Really faint something coming out of the Equinox, but not sure I get it. Gold monster. Really faint coming out of the gold monster too. Another little bit back in, gold monster got it. And the Equinox got it too. Obviously there's set points in the coil that are more sensitive than others, so some of the bits, that's why they were kind of on and off. And the Equinox, actually, I've got it leaned back a teeny bit there. So slightly, but like it's... should have been more like that. So that can substitute for that teeny bit less on the Equinox. Really, what I can see, two machines and next to identical sensitivity. So, if you're looking for relics, parks, beaches, go for the Equinox. It's the better multi-purpose detector. If you're just looking for gold and worried about that money and that extra few $100 on the Nox is going to be an issue, go for the gold monster. However, if you have those extra few $100 and on the gold, and those extra few $100 aren't too much of an issue, I would go for the Equinox with its extra coil. Because, even though they're, let's say, identical sensitivity, more or less, the Nox has way more customizability and is totally waterproof. It has been, some people said it's leaked, where the Gold Monster is only waterproof up to here. That one little feature alone, I think, makes the Equinox beat it out just a little bit. I used to be a fan of the Gold Monster, but if I could only choose one detector to keep for gold, I actually think it might have to be the Equinox. However, the Gold Monster is easy to use and probably better to get started with as a beginner on the gold. So it's up to you. Really, I'm happy with owning both machines. They're both really similar. I'll pick up and use whichever one I feel like using when I'm going for the gold, really. There's a very small difference between them. However, it could lean towards the Equinox a bit on the bigger gold, or the really teeny gold for the Gold Monster. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Before we end it, I just want to give a massive thank you to all of our channel patrons for helping support the channel. If you're interested in helping give a little bit more support to the channel and receive a heap of bonus perks while you're at it, check out our Patreon and the link in the description below. I'd also like to give an extra massive thanks to HBJNL and Goldpan Fam, the two top tier patron supporters. But that concludes the video, guys. I really hope this helped you decide whether you like the Equinox or the Gold Monster more. If you did enjoy it, really appreciate you for watching, and make sure to smash down that subscribe button. But outside of that, we'll see you on the next one.